What are your feelings, and let me start with the women here, about Kamala Harris?
She's a woman of color. I'm not putting her down because of that, and I'm not putting her down because she's a woman. I don't think that she has what it takes to go up against Putin and go up against these other presidents that are built for this. I don't want to be scared because my president is scared. I want my president to feel secure and manly and about it.
So MSNBC interviews Trump voters specifically trying to talk to black women, but when she gives a reasonable response as to why she doesn't support Kamala that doesn't involve race, gender, or emotions, that MSNBC host literally looks angry at the idea that she would have values outside of her race, gender, or emotions.
We brought up gender, right? Like, do you think it matters that she's a woman and people aren't comfortable having a woman in a top leadership role?
No, I don't think that, because most men, they love their mothers, they love their wives. So as a woman, most men, they respect the woman, but she just don't have the qualification or the education to really run America, because she don't have the experience. She don't understand our struggles. And for me to believe you for another 4 years, you're crazy.
I think half that interview had her jaw just dangling in the air, as I genuinely believe she's shocked at the idea that Kamala doesn't automatically own their votes simply by campaigning as a black woman. Everybody in that room has an eloquent answer as to why they think Kamala is an objectively terrible candidate, and I can think of no other reason MSNBC of all places conceptualized this segment other than they didn't expect to platform legitimate arguments against their candidate.
Well, for me, the very first time I ever heard the name Kamala Harris, it was in association to locking up parents for a truancy. That was the first time I ever heard of her name. And I really didn't understand how this person claims to be a black woman, but yet she's locking up black women and black men and separating families.
And it's true, as when Kamala Harris was Attorney General in California, she made it a point to go after parents of truant students, and apparently ended up mistakenly arresting the mother of a girl that was absent but only due to chronic illness. Now that story seems to be suppressed on the platform, as when you search the actual title of the video, you first get other random stories and MSNBC's piece trying to debunk the claim. So in an effort to sway black voters back to the Democrat Party, they ended up putting a megaphone to a story they originally tried to squash, and not only highlighted a community of voters that despise Kamala Harris, but spread various valid reasons as to why you should too.
Trump talks about this a lot. He says, you know, Kamala Harris became black when it was convenient.
Yeah.
Can you talk to me about, do you agree with him on that? Do you feel like she's wearing her blackness?
Absolutely. She's sworn into when she sworn to the Senate, it was as the first Indian American.
Thank you.
Which is, it's fine. We don't care.
We all know she's not black. Let's understand that. We are all clear of that. But my point of view, and like I told you earlier, she's already been there. She's in office right now.
So even when the host tries to bait the conversation to race, these ladies bring it back to the facts. They don't care what race she is or she isn't. They only care about who's going to best serve their community. As putting America first isn't a white, black, or Asian thing, it's an American thing. And when they can no longer divide us amongst each other by pointing out the differences in our skin, people start noticing who's actually harming our individual communities. And it's not each other, it's the political establishment. And even MSNBC seeing this same thing everywhere.
Who's voting for Kamala Harris here? Absolutely no.
No.
I should note, we did not find a single person who audibly would tell us that they voted for Kamala Harris.
Which is pretty reflective of what most everybody's seeing in their daily lives. Even in deep blue areas, you can still see MAGA hats and giant Trump 2024 flags. But I can't quite say the same thing about Kamala, as it's so hard to find Harris super supporters, they actually had to bust them in to fill even the smallest campaign rallies. And why would there be? Even when MSNBC themselves interview Kamala, they too think she sucks.
Obviously, for anybody who watched the interview I did with Vice President Harris, we sat down for 25 minutes and we talked about one single topic, the economy. And do I think that she answers every single question and gives people exactly what they want? She doesn't. Do you know why? Because she's a politician.
But here's what's a little tricky. She doesn't answer the question.
And when they do run positive pieces for Kamala, they suck too.
I laugh when people say, oh, you've got Trump derangement syndrome. I think if you're a reasonable person, you should have Trump derangement syndrome.
It's almost like if you actually watch Trump speak directly, you'd probably like him more. Even if you watched MSNBC's version of Kamala, you'd probably like her a lot less. But if you only listen to what MSNBC says about what Trump said, that seems to be the only scenario where you'd end up being a huge Harris supporter. As obviously, MSDNC's entire existence is to promote the Democrats, as 11 out of these 15 front-page stories are overtly pro-Democrat, with the other 4 probably being in the back end. So the only reason they would platform a panel of black GOP voters is if they thought they could make them look stupid, and the fact that they looked genuinely surprised that they got a based panel that had a stack of facts as to why Harris is horrible is sadly because they still carry that soft bigotry of low expectations, and until they start treating us minorities as actual adults with critical thinking abilities, they should never receive that support again. And if you appreciate my concise, lighthearted commentary on the tragic status that is today's reality, hopefully I've earned your subscription, then go check out the video on why Kamala hid for an entire day and how she's ending her pathetic campaign.